Coming to Las Vegas in 2025 is like betting on the biggest gamble of your life. Not at a blackjack table, but on the street. Because here, luck is no longer in the cards, but in whether you can leave the strip without losing your belongings, or worse, your safety. Vegas has never felt so unsettling and fragile. Once known as the paradise of light, it now seems to be covered by dark patches of crime, poverty, and despair. Amidst dazzling skyscrapers and a sea of never-ending neon lights, more and more makeshift tent cities are springing up. Impromptu settlements right in the heart of America's busiest tourist destinations. Some people call Vegas the stage of light, but behind that curtain lies a play that has never been allowed to be performed. Where humans become pawns, the law is the audience, and sin holds the leading role. Vegas hasn't collapsed yet, but it has divided into two distinct worlds, one of luxury and the other in the shadow of poverty. And between those two worlds, no one is truly safe anymore. In today's video, we'll explore the dark side of paradise, the place where even the police sometimes have to stand back. Stay tuned until the end, because what was once considered what happens in Vegas no longer stays in Vegas. As the darkness of Vegas begins to spread across America, bringing the same fear and darkness to many other cities. A new wave of crime is creeping across Las Vegas, silently, but enough to make anyone who comes here wary. Over the past 9 months, this city has experienced a severe decline in tourism, with visitor numbers down nearly 12%, a level rarely seen since the 2009 crisis. Vegas is struggling to regain its rhythm amidst empty streets and sparsely populated casinos. But amidst that bleak picture, there was a seemingly encouraging glimmer of hope. The rate of serious crimes had decreased, with some types of crime dropping by as much as 31%, according to data from 8 News Now. At first glance, that's good news. At least Vegas isn't completely descending into chaos like people thought. But that's only half the truth. The rest, which lies beyond the statistics, is what you can only truly feel when you actually step out onto the street. Because while violent attacks have decreased, thefts, pickpocketing, and muggings have increased significantly, especially in areas with high tourist traffic. A manager at the largest T-Mobile store on the Strip recounted, "EDC weekend is the worst. In just one weekend, we handled about 100 reports from customers about lost phones."
Flex of those customers. Like EDC is the worst. But EDC, I swear maybe in that weekend alone would do like 100 phones.
100 phones just in one weekend?
100 phones in just a few days at a single store. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Other stores like Verizon or AT&T are also facing a similar situation. Every festival, every peak tourist season, Vegas becomes fertile ground for those who prey on tourists. And the worst part is, they operate almost openly, amidst the dazzling lights of this city that never sleeps. If you're a local resident, losing your phone is probably just a minor inconvenience. You have friends, family, and can likely manage to get by. But for tourists, the story is much more complex. They came here to enjoy themselves, didn't know anyone, didn't know the way, and when their phone was stolen, they almost lost their map, contacts, and only connection to the world. Few people carry enough money to buy a new one outright, and in a strange city, that isolation is more terrifying than any crime. The worrying reality is that such thefts are no longer rare in the United States. They are becoming normalized, a sign of a society buckling under crisis. According to CBS News, nearly 59% of Americans say they don't have enough money to cover a full-on emergency, such as car repairs or medical bills. According to Empower.com, 37% of people can't even come up with $400 in case of an unexpected event. Many only have less than $600 in their accounts. A cold number, but it speaks to the hottest truth. Americans are living day by day, and for many, that desperation blurs the line between right and wrong. If you come from a place with a high trust culture, like Japan, Canada, or small Midwestern towns, you won't think like a thief. But in Vegas, you have to think like a thief to survive. Always be vigilant, always keep your belongings close, always check behind you. In a city dazzling with brilliance, safety has become a game where only the most vigilant have a chance of winning. Because Vegas is another world. Here, a moment of carelessness can cost you everything. It's not just wallets, phones, or handbags. It's the feeling of security that used to be as natural as breathing. A visitor once wrote about their bitter experience. Avoid Vegas like the plague. Not only are casinos squeezing every penny out of people, but street crime is also out of control. Perhaps those words are a bit extreme, but they accurately reflect what many people feel. Vegas is no longer a place where you only gamble with money, but also with your safety. In reality, despite statistics showing a slight decrease in overall crime, the sense of insecurity among residents and visitors has noticeably increased. The reason isn't that the police aren't working. They're still there, still patrolling, still trying, but that they are severely understaffed. Metro police are forced to prioritize more serious and dangerous cases. And what about pickpocketing, losing phones, and snatch and grab incidents? They took note, but there weren't enough people left to investigate it thoroughly. And so, those little things, the isolated thefts, the desperate acts of recklessness, gradually became everyday occurrences. A weary society where despair is creeping into every layer of people, and where most Americans cannot afford to cope with a minor crisis, is even more susceptible to being caught in a life or death spiral. When a city lives off tourists, but tourists no longer feel safe, what will keep Vegas afloat? Could it be that this darkness doesn't come from crime, but from the silence of those who are accustomed to it? Las Vegas still shines brightly in the night sky, as if nothing can dim its brilliance. But if you venture into the back streets behind the Strip, just a few blocks from the casinos and luxury hotels, you'll see a different Vegas. Patched up tents stretching out, human figures lurking in the shadows of neon lights. There was no laughter, no Elvis Presley songs echoed, only the sound of desert wind whistling through thin tarpaulins and the smell of burnt garbage seeping through the night. According to the HUD Pitt 2025 report, in just one night, 7,128 homeless individuals were counted in Clark County, a 20% increase from 2024, the highest level in the past 10 years. Among them, 4,002 people are homeless, sleeping on sidewalks, in cars, or under bridges. Notably, 29% are people who have become homeless again, which is higher than the national average, 26%, indicating that efforts to help them integrate have not been successful. This is no longer a story of numbers, but a vivid and painful spectacle. Hundreds of tents stretching along roads that were once only lit by streetlights and tourists. From Tropicana to Boulder Highway, tents sprang up side by side, like a temporary wall dividing two Las Vegases, one of light, one of shadow. In a News Now Las Vegas report, residents around Boulder Highway and Twain Avenue described the new camps springing up so quickly that within a few weeks, the empty lot turned into a miniature slum.
It's really bad, especially at night. So I try not to come here at night. And even here, 7-Eleven always have problems.
Behind Arizona, Charlie's Casino, just a few steps from where tourists once poured hundreds of dollars into slot machines, is now a dense tent city, where the casino's lights reflect off the tattered tarps like a cruel irony. A Bolivian resident, formerly a hotel employee, shared, "We always complain about the city, but it's actually very difficult to leave, because it's still cheaper here than elsewhere." The saying sounds simple, but it reflects the harsh reality of thousands of people, those who no longer have enough money to leave, nor enough hope to stay. They didn't choose to live in a tent, they simply had nowhere else to go. This crisis isn't new. Vegas has struggled with homelessness for years, but 2025 marks the year it will erupt most violently. According to Redfin, the average rent in January 2025 is $1,170 per month, a slight decrease of 1.3% compared to the previous year. But the costs of essential living are rising uncontrollably. The Review Journal reported that egg prices have climbed to $9.11 per dozen, partly due to transportation costs and supply chain disruptions. Adding to the harsh summer with temperatures reaching 115 degrees Celsius, electricity bills can exceed $300 per month, a figure sufficient to push any low-wage worker into homelessness. And with basic medical costs reaching $300 for a single doctor's visit, a stomachache or the flu can become an invisible sentence, pushing an elderly person onto the streets. The ripple effect of the crisis spread quickly like a domino effect. When the gloomy summer caused a sharp drop in tourist numbers, a series of hotels, restaurants and service businesses cut staff. Those who once served tourists in resorts are now the ones left behind in the shadows. A person who once won at gambling can return to the casino, but a person who has lost their home, no place to return to. And while the city tries to maintain its glamorous image, informal mini-cities, tent communities, continue to expand out of control. Vegas never turns off the lights, but that light no longer illuminates dreams. Instead, it shines directly onto the tents of those who once dreamed. Each light bulb on the strip became a painful reminder. The city's excessive light only made the darkness of the poor more stark. In a slow pan, the "Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas" sign reflects onto the line of roadside tents, where real people are still living, waiting, and languishing in the harsh Nevada desert sun. What happens when the city of opportunity becomes a haven for despair? And when tents spring up right under the million-dollar billboards, does anyone still believe in the American dream? Las Vegas, once built to give people a second chance, is now becoming stark proof of the opposite. Amidst the dazzling lights of the Strip, where the games of chants and cheers still echo throughout the night, another silent crisis is spreading, the crisis of the cost of living. And when a city born to spend money becomes too expensive to live in, all moral values begin to waver. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average cost of living in the Las Vegas-Henderson Paradise area has increased by over 18% since 2021, which is higher than the national average. A typical breakfast used to cost less than $10, but now it easily exceeds $20. Rent, electricity, food, everything is going up, except for workers' incomes. And for the tens of thousands of people in the service industry who are entirely dependent on tourism, every week without visitors is a fresh cut to their wallets. What's scary is that the cost shock isn't just happening at the bottom level. Even the middle class, once the backbone of the city, is starting to falter. A 46-year-old front desk employee at a large resort south of the Strip said her two-bedroom apartment rent increased by nearly $600 in 3 years. She still works regularly without taking a single day off, but every month she struggles to choose between the electricity bill and meals for her children. I used to think Vegas was a place where hard workers would never go hungry. But now, I'm not sure anymore, she said, her voice choked with emotion. Meanwhile, the wealthy areas of Vegas remain vibrant and safe. Those living around Summerlin or Henderson rarely have to face the reality of the downtown area. They drove past the tent camps, looked out the window, and then sped up. Meanwhile, those across the street, service workers, Uber drivers, sanitation employees, are witnessing an increasingly invisible barrier between the two worlds. In a city where a VIP guest can spend $10,000 in a single night, there are also people who have to sleep in their cars because they can't afford this month's electricity bill. Sociologists call this the Strip effect, when the city's entire energy and budget are poured into a few square miles of lights, while the rest is neglected. And as the poor are pushed to the margins, a sense of injustice and despair gradually turns into simmering anger. Petty thefts, attacks, and small conflicts began to increase, not out of malice, but out of hunger and a feeling of abandonment. A 58-year-old taxi driver, who has lived in Vegas for over 30 years, said bitterly, "In the old days, everyone believed that just working hard was enough to make a living. Now, you just need one wrong medical bill or one slow month and you lose everything." He had seen colleagues disappear from behind the wheel, only to find them setting up tents under the I-15 overpass a few months later. According to Pew Research, 2024, over 61% of Americans say that the high cost of living is preventing them from saving any money, and nearly half of those surveyed believe they are living in survival mode rather than thriving. In Vegas, where everything is built on the illusion of prosperity, that truth is even more painful. An economy wrapped in LED lights, but hollow inside. When the poor are desperate, crime will be seen as an escape. When the elderly don't have enough money to buy medicine, painkiller collecting gangs appear. When young people don't have enough money to rent a home, cybercrime and tourist scams flourish. Vegas is no longer just the city of gambling in casinos, it's the gambling of life itself. How long can a city built on extravagant dreams survive when its people can no longer afford to dream? And when opportunity becomes a privilege, is Las Vegas losing its most precious asset, faith in fairness? Las Vegas is still promoted as a safe haven in the desert, where every visitor can freely enjoy themselves, spend money, and temporarily forget the real world. But behind that glittering facade, a maze of traps is laid out every place, not just for those who come here seeking pleasure, but also for the residents who call Vegas home. And in a city where everything has a price, safety is sometimes the most expensive commodity. The first traps appear as soon as you step onto the street. Along Las Vegas Boulevard, self-proclaimed street artists or discount ticket vendors approach tourists with friendly smiles. But as soon as you stop, a handshake or a photo will quickly turn into a request for payment. But it's not just tourists who are victims. City residents are also trapped in a system full of other hidden traps, fees, tricks, and invisible promises that are gradually eroding their ability to survive in the very place they work. A report by Nevada Current, 2025, shows that extra fees and hidden utility costs in housing bills increased by an average of 14% in just 2 years, forcing many low-income households to borrow money or sell assets to pay rent. Those financial traps are more sophisticated than any robbery because they are disguised by legal regulations. Casinos and hotels are also adopting a similar model: resort fees, housekeeping fees, parking fees, all added to the bill as if nothing is unusual. An anonymous hotel manager told Fox 5 Vegas that there was no other way to maintain profitability as the drop in guests was too deep. But for middle-class travelers, these fees are the last straw. A 4-night stay can easily add over $200, $300, enough to make many people feel cheated. And as frustration builds, trust begins to crumble. Tourists no longer trust price lists, residents no longer trust the system, and opportunists, from shady brokers to petty criminals, have even more room to operate. Vegas authorities recently installed over 40 new surveillance cameras along the Strip, 2025, to improve security. But experts warn, technology cannot replace a true sense of security. Once trust is lost, everything else is just temporary. At a deeper level, Vegas's biggest trap is perhaps not crime, but its very promise. The promise that anyone can win. But in reality, those who come here seeking fortune often leave empty-handed. And those who come here to work, waiters, drivers, housekeepers, are trapped in an invisible cycle of debt, bills, and rising costs. Vegas is no longer a place to change your luck, but a place where every dream has a small clause at the end of the contract. A clause that few people read carefully before placing a bet. Because in the end, the dazzling lights of Vegas can make you forget about time. But they can't erase the reality that everything here comes at a price. Who is truly winning in this city of gambling, and who is unknowingly being trapped? At night, Las Vegas still shines like a mirage in the desert. LED lights cover the sky, and the towers remain brightly lit as if the city never sleeps. But if you stand at the edge of the Strip and look out into the distance, you'll see a different Vegas. Empty residential areas, abandoned apartments, and eerily quiet suburban streets. The light remains, but people are leaving, silently, persistently, and without looking back. According to the US Census Bureau, 2025, Las Vegas experienced negative net migration for the first time since 2011. Approximately 34,000 residents left Clark County in the past 12 months, most of whom were working-age individuals or retirees who could no longer afford the cost of living. A report by the Nevada Realtors Association also noted that nearly 1/5 of homeowners in the North Vegas area are selling their properties for financial reasons. Areas that were once population hotspots like Sunrise Manor or East Charleston are now seeing an increasing number of "for sale" and "available for lease" signs. This story of migration isn't just about economics. It is the chain reaction of a city in balance between light and shadow. As tourism declined, jobs followed. As jobs were lost, housing prices soared. And as those who once made up the soul of Vegas, servers, drivers, engineers, teachers, left, the city began to hollow out from within. A 62-year-old man, who used to be a maintenance technician at a hotel on the Strip, shared, "I used to think I'd retire here, but now everything is so expensive that I had to move back to Arizona, where I can live without counting every penny." This mass migration has serious economic consequences. As the population declines, local tax revenue also decreases, causing the city's budget for healthcare, security, and infrastructure to shrink. Suburban schools are starting to consolidate due to a lack of students. Meanwhile, abandoned investor buildings baking in the desert sun stand as stark evidence of the build-it-quick dream that Vegas once pursued. Because a city is only truly alive when people remain. What will be left when the lights of the Strip are still on, but the soul of Las Vegas has departed? Is the city of dreams slowly turning into a graveyard for those who once believed in it? Las Vegas was once a symbol of hope, a place where people came to start over, to believe that fortune could change with just one roll of the dice. But by 2025, that city is no longer a dream, but a mirror reflecting the cracks in the entire United States. Crime is rising, tents are every place, residents are leaving, and trust is gradually dwindling. Beneath the neon lights that still blaze every night, thousands of people are quietly sleeping on the sidewalks, next to gold-plated casinos. Some tourists lose faith right during their vacation, and there are residents who, after many years of attachment, have to leave what was once called paradise. Vegas hasn't turned off the lights yet, but that light isn't enough to warm the hearts of those who have lost everything. Can a city built on light survive if darkness spreads to its very heart? And if the capital of the American dream is no longer safe, how long will we continue to believe in that dream? If you've ever witnessed the changing face of Vegas, or felt that America is becoming increasingly foreign to itself, please leave your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to continue our journey of exploring the truths hidden beneath the glitz and glamour of today's America with us. The content in this video is compiled for informational and analytical purposes, based on publicly available data sources, official reports, and reliable press materials such as HUD, the US Census Bureau, 8 News Now, the Review Journal, Pew Research, and local media sources in Nevada. All assessments, examples, and stories told are intended to reflect social and human perspectives, and are not accusatory, condemnatory, or intended to attack any individual, organization, or government. Some details, narratives, or characters have been changed, shortened, or anonymized to protect privacy and maintain the spirit of the content's honest reflection.